and we are back with another episode of the Great Movie Pod. I am one of your co-hosts, Noah, and this is...
I'm Caleb.
Man, good to be back. We are back with another week. I'm really excited about this theme. I recently watched a couple of movies that fit into this theme, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we unveil that, as always, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notifications, and throw a like our way if you like the video you're watching. And in the comment section, let us know where you're watching from, or post a comment if you have a comment.
Or also, if you have a suggestion for a future podcast for us to throw up there.
Yeah, that too. Likes and follows and all that good stuff. And if you're listening on Spotify, thank you. We appreciate it. Whether it's on your way home from work or way to work or wherever you listen, we appreciate it.
Oh, hey to the Apple viewers out there listening.
Oh, yes. The Apple people as well, not
and
just Spotify.
retrospectively to the Rumble viewers, that should be going up
There we
fairly
go.
soon. So
Okay. There we go. Rumble as well. Yeah, I think that got everybody out of the way.
there'll be another platform tomorrow.
If we didn't include you, I'm sorry. We'll get there eventually. But this week's theme, I'm very excited. We are going to be talking about heist movies.
Yeah.
Now, stipulations before we start, because every podcast we have a little bit of a different style. Sometimes it's a top 5, sometimes it's a top 10, sometimes we just have honorable mentions. This week, we decided to go with just a random list of some of our favorite heist movies, and we did leave out some of the big ones just because there's so many heist movies that we thought this could be a part 2. So whether whether that takes the shape of we bring it up for a specific actor in another pod, or we bring it up on their own pod, I don't know, but there's a couple that we might get to the end of this video and you go, how did you not mention blah, blah, blah? Well, we will.
And also,
go.
At some point, maybe we will do a top 10 of the heist movies. But quite honestly, there are so many to go through and think about that. Like, I didn't have 2 weeks to do research on this. So, and I mean, I could do off the top of my head, but I wanted to put some thought into it. So we thought, okay, let's, like you said, we're going to just throw some great, some ones out there. And then maybe we'll do a top 10 or something when we have time to really think about how we would create that list. But that'll be down the road a little bit.
Yeah. So there's no specific top 10, top 5, no honorable mentions. These are all honorable mentions. Just some of our favorite heist movies throughout the years. Caleb, you want to give us a movie to start on? What's or your thoughts about the genre, I guess, before we get going?
Yeah, I mean, I guess some thoughts would be, I love the genre. I know not everyone does, and that's, it's like some people love rom-com, some people love horror, whatever. I don't care at all about it. Some people love them, some people don't. I really enjoy them if they're done well, because it usually involves an ensemble cast. And I like that because, sometimes there's a few folks in the film that really take over the film, but usually you have 5, 6, 7, 8 different characters that are all kind of different and give a different thing, whether they have almost no dialogue or they have the action sequences or whatever. But it just brings a lot of people into a movie. And I think you often get a really great cast because it's like being in a play. People like to have a little bit of time on stage to do their thing. Mm-hmm. With an ensemble, you get that, so that would be my thoughts going into it.
No, I totally agree. I know one movie specifically is going to come up that has a great ensemble, but a lot of these heist movies are you obviously like the what's going on, the plot, but a lot of times the plot is the people. You really watch for the people. There's a couple heist movies where the cast is smaller and you're more so watching for the actual writing, the actual plot. There are some famous people that you're like, oh, I love this guy in this movie. But most heist movies is a huge cast of it feels like the Avengers of bank robbing.
Oh, yeah.
It's oh my gosh, it's that guy and that guy and that guy. And even the small roles, it's oh, it's that guy.
And then little cameo roles that basically the producer or the director went to some actor who other might have starred in his own film. He comes to him and said, look, I don't have anything really for you, but I can give you a part where you walk on and say one line. And they're like, I'm in. you know? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Why don't you
So yeah,
why don't you throw out there one like that has that big ensemble, you know?
sure. I'm gonna. Well, I mean, I was just kind of stuck with Ocean's 11
Yeah,
is that's we can't not talk about that.
yeah. That's a
Um,
great one to start with
it's
because it there are ones that go really, really serious and dark, and there, you know, I have the
yeah.
different ones on my list and stuff.
Our last podcast was well. I guess there wasn't necessarily remakes that have happened, but this is on the list of. I think if we do another remakes podcast
Yeah,
about ones that have worked, this is one that is just brilliant.
yeah.
The original is the Rat Pack.
Rat
It's
Pack,
got
that's right.
Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis
Sammy Davis,
Jr.
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
oh,
But
great.
yeah, well, what was great about what I liked about the remake was that they and the reason to maybe bring it up first is because not only there was like Ocean's 11, there was 12, 13, and then the one with all the chicks, Ocean 8, I think.
And they're working on 14.
Right. So I think the fact that it's kind of like was popular enough to do a thing, and it was also popular enough for people that hate heist movies to really hate it. So that's when
Yeah.
you know you're doing something right, is when the people that hate heist movies sincerely like lose their mind over hating on the ocean movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think for that movie, the first one, Ocean's 11,
Right.
I think that it's so I remember watching it as a kid for the first time, and I like the not only is the cast really good, and we'll talk about that, and the plot's really fun, and we'll talk about that, but the music is some of my favorite like aspects of that film. It is like the most grooviest,
Yeah.
jazzy kind of like funk, and it like and it has one of the greatest uses, like the end of the movie. It has one of the greatest uses of the song Claire de Lune.
Oh yeah.
It's they're just standing in front of a fountain and you're just like they've won, they've walked out with the money. Spoiler, I mean if you haven't seen it, it's
Yeah.
been out for a long
It's
time,
been out for a
but
couple decades, so
yeah, yeah. But like that soundtrack, like there's not a lot of movies. I mean, all these movies that we'll list are, in our opinion, good movies, but there's not a lot of these movies that I remember the soundtrack for. This is
right.
one on this pod for this genre specifically that has brilliant music. That soundtrack is so fun.
Yeah. Well, and that's in it. What's kind of cool about it was that there have been heist movies forever, and when this one came around, I actually forgot that it came out in 2001 or two. So for some reason I thought it was I knew it was older, but I didn't know it was quite that old. But prior to that, a lot of heist movies tried to like take themselves really, really seriously, and some of them
Yeah,
were successful, of course. But when Oceans came out, it was like they had this comedic thing, and then like you're talking about, the music really accentuated the fact that it was a lighthearted movie that you didn't have to take too seriously, and that let the audience kind of just relax and enjoy it for what it was.
100%. 100%. Um and I think the style of the movie too, like the it's one of the movies, and I don't know if I'd have to do some research on it. I don't know if they cut it to go with the music or they made the music to go, but they perfectly edit the movie so that the music is like they're in sync so well that it's like it's an experience more so than a backtrack.
Yeah, well, I think that has a lot to do. Well, it has to do with the vision of the director. Was that Soderbergh?
I believe so.
Um,
Yes. Let me
but so it
double
has
check real
that has
quick.
to have the vision of the producer and the
It is Soderbergh,
Soderbergh. Okay,
yes.
I thought so. And but it has like we got to give some props and flowers to the editors of those movies because they had a look and a design to it that they wanted to achieve, and then they really did achieve it. I mean, because
Yeah.
it is very
The
distinct.
the editor Stephen Mirione. He also edited Traffic and Babel.
Well, now that makes sense because both of those movies, which we'll talk about at another time, but they are very stylistic in terms of the editing and the lighting and the mood, the cinematography on some of those movies are incredible. And then that makes sense as Soderbergh would work, and directors will often work with the same editors because they know they have some kind of balance with they know what the director's looking for, and they don't have to ask quite as often.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about the cast,
Oh
though.
yes. Oh yes. I was just postponing it because that's like the biggest part of that film.
Well, yeah.
There were other things that I needed to touch
Well,
on
yeah,
before we
if you have
got
anything
there.
else we
So,
could touch on before we talk about the cast, though.
um, some of this is to do with the cast, so this is a perfect lead in. But the humor in that movie, the way the writing is so perfect for the cast of
Yeah.
characters that is assembled. There are some comedians in there, but there's some really serious actors that have done some serious stuff. And the way they're all blended together with the comedy is just brilliant.
Right? It strikes me as like two things. Like when you watch the movie, you think they've known each other for a long time in person. Now, that could be true for
Mm-hmm.
some of them, but I bet you isn't the case for all of them. So that leads me to point number two is that usually when you do a film or even a play often, but a film especially, you do a roundtable read and you get everyone together, the week before you're going to film or whatever, and you're starting to like play off of each other and kind of figure out the timing, all the stuff. And my guess is whoever was running that, which was probably the director, but also I think a few of them might have known each other, and so their natural like Pitt and Clooney knew each other, and Damon. Obviously, everyone knew Damon because they wanted to like really kind of throw him under the bus throughout the whole movie, and it was obvious
Yeah.
that the actors themselves. So it does remind me of the Rat Pack because they also knew each other, and so that
Yeah.
chemistry was like very obvious on screen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Damon and Clooney and Brad Pitt. And I don't know if they wrote this in or if this was just a choice by Brad Pitt, but like in every scene, he is eating something.
Yeah,
And it is the funniest thing because your brain doesn't notice it until like most of the movie is done. And then you're like, man, that dude is always eating something.
yeah.
And it's the greatest. It's one of those things that, like, probably was just like, he just probably decided to do that. I doubt that was right. And if it is written in, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Either way, it's like such a good, like, little character thing. It just makes it hilarious. I don't know what is so funny about that, but
What was great is that like when you have the two different, like you had said, you had two different groups of actors in those films. Like you had the ones that do varying roles, serious, whatever, and you have the comedians. And so like when you have like, so just as an example, you have Pitt eating whatever a sandwich, and then Clooney in what he's his doing his dialogue, and then he's sometimes a little irritated by his friend eating. And like he's
yeah.
naturally like looking at his sandwich, like, what are you doing? And then the comedians who are naturally good at improvisation, they play off of that instantly because, when you look at the best when they're sitting in a group at a table and like, who the best improv guys are because they can make, and they are, and like they make anything funny, which brings me to, I know there's a hierarchy of actors and whatever, but like we can't like go too far without mentioning like the brilliance of Bernie Mac.
Oh, he's so good in that. Let me tell you something. Bernie Mac, we gotta do something about these people. We gonna deal some cards. I'm playing with this. Yeah. I I love Bernie Mac in this movie. He's so good, and it's so set. He's definitely if not, a top 5, but an honorable mention if we do a pod for Gone Too Soon. Uh
Yeah, yeah.
Rest in peace. Really young in consideration to his career when he died, but man, I'm glad he snuck this movie in before he went cuz it is such a good role.
And also, just thinking about him. So recently, I had my nephew Levi over. He was staying with me for a couple days, and we like to eat and feast. And in fact, he before he came to stop by, he sent me a text. This is his first year having a phone, basically. So he sent a text. He's like, "The feasting starts at noon," or whatever he had said. But at night, we had watched one of the Transformer movies.
Oh, okay.
And because I'm old, I grew up with the toys. We had there's a cartoon for a while, whatever. This is like Michael Bay, big blockbuster, things exploding. But and like there's always a hot chick in there somewhere, and there's robots, and it's a lot of fun. The movies. Bernie Mac is in there. I think.
Oh,
Is he in there? I think
in
he's
the
the car
Transformers
salesman
movies?
at the beginning.
Let me see. Let me
Well, I
see.
hope I'm not misremembering it. We'll just edit it out, I guess.
Yeah, he plays Bobby
Yeah,
Bolivia.
Bobby Bolivia. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now Levi, again, Levi's what 14 now, 13, 14. So
Yeah.
he doesn't know anything about Bernie Mac. And so all of a sudden in the movie, the character's going to his dad's going to buy him a used car, and it's Bernie Mac, a used car salesman, and he's only in there for a half a second.
Yeah,
but his
yeah.
lines in there are just so brilliant. He's just, again, I just love his delivery of things. He made to like look at
Well,
people, you know.
and that's the thing, to tie it back to Oceans. There's that great scene when he's going to get the van they need for the heist,
Mm,
and he's talking about how that guy uses such like lotion for his hands. He's like, "You got nice hand." Like it's such like there's such a comedic like there's a whole it's a whole scene in my opinion that doesn't need to happen, but I'm glad it did. Like they don't necessarily need to show you him buying a van. Like I don't think it doesn't move the plot other than they got a van,
right.
but they clearly let Bernie Mac just like do it. I don't think that was written
Oh,
at
I
all.
don't
If
think
it
so
was,
either.
it was
No.
good. But they clearly just let that man just like this actor stand in there with Bernie Mac and then just let Bernie go.
Well,
And
it's sort of like they sometimes do this, but like when there's a not director's cut, but sometimes they'll do like little behind the scenes and they'll show like them trying to film a scene, whatever that they called that scene, the van scene, and they probably did
yeah,
like, okay, we got, and this is my experience with film and watching the director's cuts and stuff. They get the shot they want, and then they're like, okay, we got enough time to do five, like let's do five like improvs. And then sometimes they choose one of, and some of those improvs from the comedians are so funny and they're so inappropriate that you can't put it in the
yeah.
movie. But
No.
sometimes you get
Well,
one.
I bet there's some excerpts from him doing some outlandish shit that they can't
Yeah,
like put
for
on there.
sure.
Yeah. But that's and it's the other brilliance of him in this movie is he doesn't over funny the movie. He doesn't add to places where it doesn't need it. He doesn't intensify humor in places where it doesn't need that.
Also, because it's an ensemble, like he knows how to like blend into that. So he didn't want to bring
Yeah.
him. It's like everybody in Bernie Mac. It's like just everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then another more comedic actor that in there, Elliot Gould,
people
uh,
forget about him.
brilliant. I love, and a lot of people, he's been in a whole bunch of stuff over his career. A lot of people my age and maybe a little bit older remember him as Mr. Geller from Friends. He plays Ross's, I think it was Ross's dad in Friends,
Oh, okay.
and he's really funny in that. But like in this movie, in Oceans, like he's one of the highlights, and he's barely in the movie compared to the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
And I love his like uh you guys are gonna rob Terry Benedict's place, and then like it's just I don't know, he's got such a great like voice for it,
Mm-hmm.
and such a great like he's just always smoking a cigar, like it's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's such a great small character that it like a little side character that's perfect addition to the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one, and we're talking about the older characters, is the Carl Reiner in that movie, who
Yeah,
just to throw his name out there because he just was, his timing of delivery because he was sort of like they're going to these guys for like, the old school like heist doers or whoever the whatever you want to call them.
yeah.
Who had really good comedic timing in that movie was, I don't know how to pronounce his name, the Asian guy. Is it Zhao Baobo?
Yeah, I was just looking at it.
I
I
saw his
don't
name
think
and I'm like,
that's
I'm gonna mess that up so badly.
yeah,
Let's spell it for the audience for them.
it is Shaboquin. I would imagine it's Xiaobo Quinn.
Sure.
I don't know. We're gonna go with Xiaobo Quinn. But the cool thing about this guy is he's literally only in the Ocean's movies.
Is he really?
He's done nothing else.
We don't look it up now because this isn't going to be just a,
No, he has 6 actor credits on IMDb,
okay,
and they are all those
because we don't
like
want to
that.
just talk about Oceans, but like I'd be interested to look up like how they found the guy. Like, is it that
Yeah, I
somebody knew
have.
him? He's like a guy they were like, he's my barber, you know?
Okay, so apparently he was originally acclaimed. He was a member of the Peking Acrobats.
Well, because he does all that bending and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and they found him that way. I
Hmm.
don't know. Which is funny because in the movie they literally go to an acrobatic show and they're like, "That's the guy you need."
Oh yeah, that's
So
right.
I wonder if in the movie, I don't know, we'd have to research it, but I wonder if in the movie the acrobat troupe that they're watching is the one that he's actually a part of.
Well, that could be. And they needed a guy to do that particular task, so they probably like, well, let's just go find an acrobat and we'll just have him have almost no words, so he doesn't have to act. He just has to move his body. So it worked out really well.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And then another person that I think, even though he does more serious roles, is hilarious in this movie is Don Cheadle.
Wait, is he in that or is he in the second one? Is he in both?
Don Cheadle's in both. He's
Okay.
in the first one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don Cheadle's
he
great.
has really good comedic chops for
And
TV.
he's British in this movie,
Yeah.
which is just so great. There's the scene where they pick him up for the squad, and he's in the middle of a bank heist that goes wrong, and he's getting arrested by the cops, and they pretend to be detectives to get him out
Oh
of
yeah.
being arrested. And he's just walking around. They're like, it's not booby trap. That's not his style. And they walk him away. And as they're walking, the whole place blows up. And he's just giggling. And then he's like, it'll be nice to work with proper villains again. And it's like, it's so great. He's so good in that.
So good. Yeah, he is.
Anyone else in that movie?
Well, then you have the headliners because you have
Yeah.
the George Clooney, you have Julia Roberts, you have Matt Damon, you have Brad Pitt. See,
Andy Garcia.
I would say he's not a B-list actor. Andy, if
No.
you ever see this, I'm sure you won't, but you're not a B-list actor.
Still put me in your movie.
In fact, Andy Garcia is in one of my favorite films for whatever the genre. It's a very small indie film called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
Oh, wow. What a indie title.
I believe he's in that. Now, well, it doesn't matter. So, well, it's one of those films that like I saw a couple of times decades ago, and it's such a minor film that it's never on TV.
It is Andy Garcia, Christopher Lloyd, and William Forsythe.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
what
by
a
the way,
cast. Steve Buscemi, Christopher Walken, Bill Cobbs. What a movie.
It's great. It's fantastic. And they're all like,
Well, I'm adding this to my
yeah,
list of things I
it's
need
sad
to watch.
and it's great and it's sublime. And by the way, Christopher Lloyd, he lives down the road. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
I love that.
Well, I've never met him, but I guess he just works all the time, so he only stops by. But it's like his brother, his niece, his nephew, they all live around here. So I probably met some of them, but
That's awesome.
yeah. Yeah. So Andy Garcia is an A-list actor, but I feel like in this film, when they're marketing it, I feel like the other four names are going to be bigger at the time it was made, you know?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
And
I'm just thinking,
their
when
chemistry between those four is fantastic. And we should not forget about, and he has a slightly minor role, but Casey Affleck.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
What the only thing I was thinking with Andy Garcia, when did Godfather 3 come out?
The mid 90s, but that was pretty panned. That was
Yeah. I don't know, because I don't know. I'm just thinking because he had that going for him. Maybe he had more of a name, but you were alive then, so you would know. So
yeah. No, yeah. Well, he was doing smaller films at the time, and then he kind of got a bump with the ocean stuff.
Gotcha. But yeah, not to poo-poo on Andy Garcia, but it's honestly crazy that all of those actors, being Ben Affleck and George Clooney and Matt Damon, are all in one movie. Like that's like we were talking about this. Like not Ben, Casey Affleck.
Nope.
Sorry, yeah. Casey Affleck.
He'll probably put him in the Ocean's 4.
They have to. That'd be awesome. Yeah. No. Casey Affleck. It's just wild that they're all in this one movie because, I think that movie would work even if they just had like one of those guys or a couple of those guys. But to have all of those guys and they're all in their little distinct parts, they just work so well. They mesh together so well. Matt Damon's pickpocketer who's kind of underappreciated, and they treat him kind of like this D-bag of a guy that isn't worthy of being there.
Like a lesser criminal.
Yeah, they treat him like a little kid who's just there for the ride because his dad was a good guy, which is crazy. Yeah, and I don't know, just the way they set up the heist that the whole movie is building. They're showing you exactly what they're gonna do, but they still keep the payoff in darkness, so you're unsure of how they're actually gonna pull it off. They're telling you, but you're still I don't know how they're pulling this off. And then the reveal, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. They build a second vault and they record just crazy, just crazy nonsense, and it's so fun. The whole movie, We were talking about one of our podcasts. We talked about the briefly the difference between movies and films, and this is such a fun
It's
movie.
a
Like
movie.
it's
Yes.
such a yeah, it's such a fun popcorn movie. Like you, the whole time, start to finish, is a fun ride,
Yeah.
and I love
And
that.
I think sometimes in the more modern era, and we've talked a bit about this off camera and on, is that sometimes Hollywood tries to take itself a little too seriously when the
Mhm.
audience often just wants to go to a movie, not have stuff thrown at them. They don't want heavy themes that want to like change your mind or to
They're
like
trying to escape.
right, yeah. It's like I don't want to think about whatever the political thing is going on at the time. I want to just go and watch. Like I've said before, that's why Top Gun was so successful because it's just about it has the themes, it has the romance, it has the action, it has the forgiveness, it has all the elements, and they don't care about trying to like make you change your political what it doesn't do any of that. It's just a fun movie that you walk out of and go, that was a fun movie, and that's
Yeah,
what this was. It was like it was just a movie to go to when you get out of there. You and your friends in the parking lot are just laughing about the movie, which
yeah,
unless you have something more to talk about this, that segues into my next heist movie.
yeah. What you got?
Now You See Me.
Ooh, yeah. And the new one's out right now in
Yeah, so the
theaters.
third one just came out. So I saw a trailer for I haven't seen the third one. I've seen the one and two, and it made me think, oh gosh, well let's like maybe people that are interested in like watching the third one, let's talk a little bit about the first and a little in the second. Because what I loved about it was that it was a unique someone in the comments would be like, well, this has been done, da, 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 da," whatever. It was a unique take on a heist movie in that they use varying kinds of magicians. And
Yeah,
and again, it goes to the heist thing. There are a lot of people that hate magicians. So to put magicians and a heist together, that just their minds being blown over this.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think part of the reason I love that movie so much is that it doesn't take itself as a heist movie
Yeah,
until a certain point. Like half of the movie is this is a fantasy magic kind of movie.
yeah,
And then the other half is like, oh, there's a heist going on.
yeah,
And there's like, and then if you haven't seen this movie, pause this video, put a like on it, come back, because I'm going to spoil the ending. But, the big reveal of Mark Ruffalo actually being behind the whole thing
yeah,
is awesome. It is one of the greatest, like, as far as like movies. I'm not talking about film, and I'm not talking about like mind twist movies, but like as far as like twist endings go, I think it's one of the greatest twist end. Like upon rewatching, the twist is very like you can see it. Like I've rewatched it a couple times, and the twist doesn't hold as well as the first time.
right, sure, yeah,
But that's true for most twist endings. But there are still like I watched not to get too off topic because this will be another pod, but I watched Fight Club a couple weeks ago or a month ago, and that twist, even if you know it's coming, is still kind of mind bending if you watch that movie again and again.
yeah,
And so this twist, it's very like easy to spot,
yeah.
but if you watch it for the first
The
time,
first time,
that is a oof.
yeah,
When Morgan Freeman is in the jail cell and he's like, "What?
yeah,
Come on."
yeah, and we can't not talk about Morgan Freeman because what's great about Morgan Freeman is that it goes back, it's something about the ensemble part of heist movies. And I know this could be placed in other kind of genres too, but for
Yeah.
this purpose, it's a heist movie. But you have a Morgan Freeman who can head and has been headlining movies for decades and decades. And he was willing to like take like a minor role and then bring his own like sort of like weird little twist to it, which was fun to see because he doesn't always do that.
Yeah.
He usually has to
No,
play
for
like,
sure.
some serious president and the meteor's going to strike and I can even if I exercise my voice, I can make it go really, really deep, but I can't go Morgan
Yeah,
Freeman deep.
it's really hard to get a Morgan Freeman. I've still not mastered it. I can kind of do 90s Morgan Freeman from like Driving Miss Daisy, but even then it's kind of like it's hard to do. Yeah. And then Michael Caine also in that
Oh
movie.
yeah. Yeah.
Really great role. He has a more prominent role in the second movie,
Yes.
but yeah, real good ensemble, and Woody Harrelson is so good
He
in those
steals
movies.
almost every scene, and
Every scene.
I don't know what it is because I've never regarded him. And this is, and again, Woody, if you're watching, I don't
Yeah.
mean to besmirch you. You don't think of him as like this like stellar actor, but it's like he. I'm sorry, Woody. Yeah,
I don't know. Have you seen True Detective season 1?
yeah, I have. Yeah, yeah. But
Okay, that's some stellar
all I
acting.
know is that maybe it's something about his ability to seem so natural at delivering lines that when he's
Sure.
given either in the true detective stuff or in a comedic stuff like this, he owns it so well that again steals the scenes he's in every time, whether it was
Yeah.
the zombie one or like he just something about he has a charisma with his eyes and his
Well,
smile.
I mean, yeah, and that's the first one, and then clearly they thought that because the second one he plays two characters,
Yeah,
and
do you
that's
do a Woody Harrelson?
I don't,
He
I
he has a
don't.
little
I
bit of
wish.
a like odd voice to get. It's like trying to like do
Yeah,
a voice of Benicio del Toro. You're like, oh.
it's a cool, yeah, it's a cool voice. I'm trying to work on it because people keep asking for it, but it's like really hard. What I want to do is Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson back to back, just like talking to each other.
Yeah,
But
it was perfect in whatever the commercial is they're selling to have McConaughey, and then
I
but then when
know.
Woody shows up for the first time, again, he to steal a scene from McConaughey is like, huh? How did you do that?
Yeah,
But he doesn't quite steal it, but he definitely comes in and he's like, I own the scene just as much as McConaughey does. But anyway, we're off topic completely. But
yeah, yeah. Now You See Me, really good, and
Jesse, is it Eisenberg?
Eisenberg,
What
yeah,
he is really really good at, and I haven't watched all of his films, but I've seen a number of them, is when he's an actor that can take a line of dialogue and say it in such a very smart, fast way. Now, I don't know if he's like this in real life because it's like you can act like you're smart in a movie. Doesn't mean you're smart. It just means that you're good at
yeah,
doing that thing. And his line delivery, his very fast rebuttals and replies to people about insults, like he was like that in The Social Network. Just his
hmm
ability to like insult someone so dryly, and he just
yes,
maybe he is like that. I don't know, but he acts in that way very, very well.
yeah, yeah, really good at it. Most of his movie roles I've seen, he's the ability to do that, and I don't know if that's just a talent he has or if he's like that as a person. Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting.
That might just
I
be
love
his
them.
acting style. I mean, that could just
Might be,
yeah,
yeah. But I love those movies. The core of the Four Horsemen they call
yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
Really good chemistry. They fit really good together. Dave Franco's really good
yeah.
in that. Just a good mix. Isla Fisher, really good.
And again, it goes back to, and there's going to be some other heist movies that are darker. I don't know if we'll get to this time or the next pod or whatever. But
Yeah.
the first number of ones we're talking about, they're just fun movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. On the subject of another fun movie, this one you might I don't know, you might throw it out as a like heist movie, especially as the other two are structured. But I also think of when I think of heist movies, I also think of con artists because they're heisting from maybe an individual person
yeah,
instead of an entity like a bank or a corporation. So I did throw in a couple con movies that are
hmm
not necessarily like your typical heist structures, because most importantly because they're fun, and second because I watched it recently. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels I
okay,
have on my list. It's Michael Caine and Steve
Steve
Martin,
Martin.
and it's an older the premise. If you have seen it, amazing. If you haven't, go watch it. But the premise is an older con artist has found out that there is a younger con artist in his town trying to take over the cons that he's working on,
Yeah,
and they both try to outcon the other person, and it's hilarity ensues, and it's just delightful. And the in the movie they are trying, basically they're doing solo heists on the rich people that live in this European town.
hmm
And so it's not heist movie in the sense of, you've got a crew and you're going after like the big money, but it is kind of like you are doing like a solo heist
yeah,
of someone's money, and it's a different way of going about it. So I did put in, I only have two of these kinds of
Yep.
movies. But Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, hilarious, really funny. The two, Michael Caine and Steve Martin, bounce off each other flawlessly.
Yeah.
It's a perfect exhibition of both of their skills of dramatic acting and just hilariousness. I don't have much to say about that film, but I wanted to highlight it because I did consider it. And then I have Alfred Hitchcock's To Catch a Thief, another not so much of a heist movie, but it kind of fits in the genre. A jewel thief that has retired is suspected of being back in the game, and he has to prove that he's not. And you know, it's not necessarily a heist film in regards to the structure of some of these other films that we'll talk about, but I wanted to give a nod because it is very similar in theme to some of these, being the theft of something.
Yeah, I would say that could be its own pod on its own, is just like movies about like thievery or something like that,
For
or
sure,
con
for
artists,
sure.
because they're kind of
But
different in a way.
I didn't know if I could come up with enough movies for those other categories. So I just threw a couple. Those are the only two that I have that are not like quite on the theme. And I'm not going to talk about them in depth in case we bring up them. More so honorable mentions.
Hmm.
But going back to the traditional heist and more of a humorous, because we're still on a humor train, I have just watched it recently for the first time. It's called Tower Heist. It is a movie starring Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy, Alan Alda, Michael Pena,
Who's one of my favorites. Again, he's one of those guys who's so naturally funny.
and another performance from Casey Affleck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we watched that recently. By the way, it's a Thanksgiving movie, so if you're looking for a movie in the next week or so, Tower Heist counts. Um, it's a hilarious, like it's very formulaic for the genre. You can kind of see stuff coming. It's nothing that's like, you know, over the top with how good the writing is, but like the comedy elements from Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy and even Casey Affleck, like it's another one of these heist movies that is just so well written for the people in the cast. I really enjoyed. And then Alan Alda, he plays this hedge fund manager that's done some sleazy business deals, and he's under indictment from the FBI and the IRS, and they're like trying to arrest him, and he just plays a sleazy guy so well, and he's older, but he's got the I don't do an Alan Alda, but he's got like the perfect, like the quintessential Alan Alda voice, and you're just like, yeah, I could believe you're like a sleazebag kind of guy. Like, I don't know. I laughed all the way through. It's you know, it's a family. It's like, it's only rated PG-13. So as far as Eddie Murphy movies goes, it's pretty tame, but he steals every scene he's in. He's so good.
Yeah, at
There's just,
this point, you got to give us a little Eddie Murphy at this point, though. Come
man,
on now.
let me see. Man,
Eddie
I don't know. I
Murphy,
can really,
he's about to break in through a door, and someone's stopping.
hey man, that's my, don't bring it to my door. I'll bleep this. Get the out of my door, man. Go. What you doing? Don't touch my door. That's my door. I don't. Yeah, but Eddie Murphy is so good because in this movie he's just like a thug that they like hired to do this heist because they think he's got experience because he's black, and it's terrible. But it's just like they're a bunch of like white guys that just like work as doormen, and they're like, who do we know that could do this heist? And they just bring him in, and it's so good. It's I don't know. It's you know, there's nothing serious about this movie. I don't have too much in depth to go about it because there's nothing like, but like, it's a great cast of characters. It's a great little plot. It's a fun holiday kind of feel of a movie. So
Yeah,
Tower Heist.
it's just a fun movie, and I do wonder if like it was sort of like when, because Eddie Murphy took like kind of a big break, and then he's been doing relatively small parts, and I don't know if that's because he doesn't want to. I guess like we could throw a theory out there. Is it that he doesn't want to be the lead in a movie and have it tank? Because like if he's in an ensemble and it doesn't quite work, he's not at fault because he was just there for a few scenes. There might be some ego at play a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe.
But everybody that talks to him, that like off camera or anything else, is like he's just as funny as he's ever been. I just wonder if he's sort of easing himself back into it a little bit to kind of get his feet wet, and I don't know, just a theory.
Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got another movie on your list you want to
Yeah, I mean, if we're
bring
staying
up?
lighthearted, maybe we'll do dark heists on the next pod or something like that. This is one of my favorite. It's really one of my favorite films of the a lighthearted nature. Because I like comedies, but I'm a hard judge on comedies. But it's a movie called Out of Sight,
Okay.
and it was a little movie. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I don't believe I have.
Yeah, so get this cast list. It stars George Clooney, Jennifer Lopez, Steve Zahn, Don
Oh, no, no, no.
Cheadle.
Yeah. You showed me this.
Yeah. Ving
Yeah.
Rhames,
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know the
Catherine
name of it.
Keener,
Yeah.
Viola Davis, Luis Guzman, Albert Brooks. It's like,
Yes.
and who has a cameo? Michael Keaton has a cameo. So it's like, so the plot for people at home or driving in your car, wherever you are. If you're driving your car, please pay attention, but also listen and subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff. But but the George Clooney plays a thief, and he's a very good thief, but he also has a little bit of a good heart. And so sometimes he gets busted on jobs because he feels bad, and so anyway, the plot is that he's a thief that gets thrown in jail, and he finds out that there's like a big loot of diamonds sitting in a rich person's home in his aquarium, and his buddy is Ving Rhames, and they decide they're going to go get it. But like as heist movies happen, there's like Steve Zahn he has a role, he has a sidekick, but he's always smoking pot, so like he can never concentrate on anything, he's forgetting stuff, and other people want to be involved. We were just talking about Don Cheadle, who plays the British thief. In this one, he plays a prisoner who is getting out, who's like just kind of a thug who wants to be part of a robbery, and he's downtown Detroit. So anyway, it's a great ensemble cast, and it's hilarious. And I think it's Jennifer Lopez's best movie. She and George Clooney
Okay.
have maybe the best chemistry on screen that I've seen those two have with anybody in any movie. Which, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that you're working with Jennifer Lopez, like enjoy that. And then the opposite is probably true. Whatever person's working with George Clooney's probably like, well, this is a suave guy. So
Yeah.
but the two of them, it doesn't always work, but the two of them together, like when you watch, you're like, man, these guys are they a couple off screen? You don't know, but it is funny, and and then spoiler alert, it has been out for like 2 decades, but Samuel L. Jackson has a cameo in it. One scene, and he shows up and it's like a 2-minute scene, and it's like Samuel L's in this. So such a great film. Do you have anything to talk
That's
about with this film?
awesome. No, I just remember fondly watching. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it when I watched it. I could not, for the life of me, remember the name, but I remember Steve Zahn. Steve Zahn is one of my favorite. There's Steve Zahn guy.
I think he would make our pod of most underappreciated actors.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, I love that movie. I'll have to watch it again. I'm due for a rewatch because it's been several years since I watched it for the first time.
Yeah,
But it's a
and one
good
of the other
one.
things is it has the music quality that a lot of comedies. It's a heist movie. It's not really a comedy. There are comedic
Yeah.
moments. For those that don't know, Luis Guzman, we'll put a picture of him up because he's one of my favorites. He has a little bit part here and there, but he plays like a thief who wants to be a better thief, but he understands that he's not a very good, so it's like it's it's just the people that are like really good at it. I don't think it's improv. I think it's just their delivery in this film, and the music is
Well, I have one more really lighthearted one. I don't know if because we're coming up on almost an hour. I don't know. I feel like if I get into any of the dark ones, that could be a whole nother hour. I don't know if you want to make that the
yeah.
part two, or
You
if
well, looking at my list, I got some dark ones I was going to talk about, but let's save that for a different pod then,
because I think we could do a whole hour just on those, and then not to mention the ones that we didn't even put on the list. So maybe this is a three-parter. But the other one I had, and I talked about this, I talked about this briefly because I had just watched it, and so I mentioned it on I just watched this segment that we do, but it's called How to Steal a Million, and it's Audrey Hepburn and Peter O'Toole.
you love throwing in movies that like 95% of our audience is not going to know.
I don't care that if you come to this podcast, and I mean, what was the movie you threw in there that killing a guy in Texas?
Well,
What's that called?
99% of our audience have never seen that one.
What? Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to hear it. But anyways, this is How to Steal a Million, and it's Audrey Hepburn and Peter O'Toole, and it's about a woman whose grandfather is an art dealer of phony art that he makes. He makes fake replicas of statues and paintings. And she finds out that the government is onto him, so she enlists the help of a guy to steal back one of his fake pieces so that he doesn't get found out.
Oh, okay.
And it is they have to steal from an art museum that this sculpture is being displayed at. And it has one of the most hilarious scenes I have ever seen. I was laughing till I cried in this movie. It has one of the most hilarious scenes. To describe it, if you haven't seen the movie, pause it, go watch the movie, come back. But there's an alarm, like most museums, if you touch something that goes off. And so they have to figure out how
By the way,
to
apparently not in the Louvre.
No? Oh yeah, because they got robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they went in.
Yeah.
They went through they climbed through
The video is great. The video is great because they're just on a ladder coming down and then they run off on scooters.
That's doing this at 1 mile an hour after they and they threaten someone with an angle grinder. What? Sorry, go ahead. Keep talking about your movie. But, yeah. Oh my gosh.
So there's an alarm on this place, and when the alarm goes off, A, it's super loud, and B, it calls the police, and the police all come running because they want to make sure that nothing gets stolen from this museum. So Peter O'Toole has a boomerang, and he uses the boomerang to trigger the alarm.
Wait.
And they hide.
Why does he have a boomerang?
This was just his plan for the heist.
Oh.
He brings a boomerang. And so he throws this boomerang, it comes back, and they hide in the closet. Then they do a whole sweep of the building. There's nothing. So he comes out and does the boomerang again. And long story short, every time the security guards are super flustered and they're pissed off, and the cops are pissed off because and the museum is right next to the prime minister's house. And so he's getting woken up at 2 a.m, and he's pissed off, and they eventually get the alarm turned off, and that's how they can steal this thing. But it is the funniest thing. Just the way everyone is acting, the way the scene is set up, as far as heists go, it's one of the funniest scenes in any heist movie I've seen, and I was laughing till I cried. I think I was on the floor. I don't know why. It just hit me when you're watching a movie and you're just in the perfect mood for this kind of movie, and for whatever reason, it hits you in a way that it shouldn't hit you if you watched it any other time. That was that. And so How to Steal a Million is rounding out my list of lighthearted heist movies to send us on a good note. Did you have another one, or was that
I
or maybe one that's not
Yeah, I have a couple in my head that I'll save for next time. There's a couple of 2 movies that I'm not going to talk about now, but I am going to mention because I was trying to decide if National Treasure and National Treasure 2 are heist movies. They sort of are, but I want to talk about them at a later date because I think there's a better genre we can stick them in.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too because they're maybe treasure hunting?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would put them in the category of Indiana Jones.
Yes.
I would put them in the category of they were already talked about because we did a monster category, but they're kind of like The Mummy.
Right.
It's kind of it's kind of adventure, but
it's definitely adventure. I guess what
I would say treasure hunter.
I would say it's a treasure hunter movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll do a podcast about treasure hunting because there's a lot of different, that goes everywhere,
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm going to keep a couple of the ones. I won't talk about them now, but I consider as a heist movie that the movie Snatch is one of the best heist movies ever. But I don't want to talk about it now because I could talk about that for a full on half hour. And it's a prequel, which is also sort of in that, but that we could put that into thievery or con artist, or there's a lot of different things you could do with it. But and the prequel is called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which very few people have seen, but it's fantastic. Some of the British accents in that movie are so thick and heavy, they literally put subtitles in the film because the American audience would be like, "What? What did he say?"
Yep.
And he's like, it's like, huh? And then on the subtitle, he's like, it has it's so well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to the.
And then I'll I'll throw this out real quickly because I don't really want to take time of another pod to talk about it. But another one that I was going to throw out, and it'll probably make another pod at some point, so I won't go into detail. But Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is a heist movie.
Well, there could
And
be there are some heist movies that define that you can argue vociferously that they're not a heist movie, but they also are by definition. Go ahead.
yes, yes. Rogue One, a Star Wars story is the prequel to A New Hope, and it is the whole getting together of the crew that is stealing the plans of the Death Star, and it has all the elements of a heist movie. They have a big corporation they're trying to steal from, and they have a band of merry men, and there's comedy, and there's a lot of death too because
Sure.
of the thing, but that is a heist movie, and
Yeah.
I wanted to throw that out there, and I'm sure we'll get into detail about that movie on another pod
Yeah, we'll
somehow.
figure out
So
how to put that in there. Yeah.
I won't, but as a heist movie, I just wanted to throw that out there because it's not super serious because it's Star Wars, but it's also not lighthearted because people die.
Right.
But that's a good one.
And then there's another one that I'm gonna figure out what genre, how we want to bring it up, but because it's not a heist movie, but has a lot of elements of all the things we've been talking about, which is Time Bandits.
Yes.
I mean, that is like they're stealing stuff from across the universe, across time, but it's not exactly a heist movie.
Right.
So we'll figure out how we want to bring that up and talk to the audience about it and everything. But again, for those that are watching and listening and whatever, like throw what other heist movies you're digging in the comments. And then if you
Or shows. There are some heist shows as
sure.
well.
Yeah. Yeah, we do talk about movies like primarily, but there's a lot of shows. And sometimes we're not talking about the shows because it's a bigger investment of time to watch a whole show about stuff. So there's shows that I haven't seen and you know, et cetera. And so it's harder.
And with shows, because of the length, there's so much to talk about. One show could take a whole episode of the pod, and maybe we'll do that. Maybe we will take a show, and like I think the Sopranos for sure could definitely be its own episode.
I think maybe we'll talk also about and we'll have to sort of figure out the timing. And again, if anyone wants to chime in about giving ideas, etc. But like, so one of the shows that I loved the first season of, and the second season has just dropped, which is Landman on Paramount and whatever else. How, because you know they're all on different channels, whatever. But
yes,
it's such a great cast in the first season, and you watch it too. It's so amazing. But maybe we'll talk about it after the season ends, or like right before it ends, or something. So like, because I know people are
maybe
watching
right before the season finale, we could do an episode about it. That'd be cool.
Because you know, there are certain shows that we both watch, and there's certain shows that like we differ on whether we want to watch it or not. You know, like you're a lot more giving than I am, but I think that's just my age. I've become more cynical.
On the topic of heist shows, you need to watch Skeleton Crew.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do need to watch that. Yeah.
Star Wars show. That is a talk about lighthearted heist movies and shows. Skeleton Crew, if you haven't seen it, even if you don't watch Star Wars, watch Skeleton Crew. It is so fun. It is kids in space trying to go after treasure, but also stealing it from people that have it. So it's heist, but also treasure hunting and all that. But it's Goonies in space. It's awesome.
Yeah, I did actually look up recently if they were going to make a second season of that. And so far, it's sort of up in the air.
It's up in the air, but the way they ended it, they could leave it where it's at. So I'm not like mad about it.
Yeah. But I also don't know why, and we're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I don't know why. The choices that Disney or whomever's making it is just bizarre. Like the ones they cancel, the one that they greenlight to start with. I mean, it's like
Disney, and this is a whole pod in and of itself, but Disney's in a weird spot right now where they like were doing things that, you know, some people in the country were like, this is not cool, we can't be doing this. So then they overcorrected, and then now they're like, oh, well, these people aren't watching our shows because we overcorrected, and so now we're doing the other way. And it's like, just be Disney. Just make the shows that people want to watch.
And you can't make up an audience of that doesn't exist. And that's what they were doing. Because they had people that were complaining that so and so wasn't like represented or whatever. And it's like you're creating an audience for a group that doesn't really want to watch your stuff.
And I've noticed that Disney, not to get too, because I think this is a subject for a whole pod, but the Disney is the only platform that seems to have any problems with that. HBO doesn't have problems with
No,
this. Apple doesn't have problems with it. Netflix doesn't have problems with it. No one is canceling any other platform for trying to fulfill a quota. Like Netflix, if they want to make a movie for LGBT people, they do it. They just make that movie, and then those people that want to watch that movie, and everyone else finds something else to watch. If they want to make a movie that is like a historical movie, they just make that movie, and every other platform does that. And I think where Disney falls is they try to make every single project a project for every single kind of person. And it's like, you don't have to do that.
well,
Just make the projects, and you'll find the audience of people that want to watch whatever you're making.
yeah, and I think if you look at like a snapshot of who they've been hiring for the writing of these things and all that kind of stuff, they're catering to one group, and they're not giving the different writers and directors, and it's really the writing that's how the story starts. And if you
Yes.
don't give the writing to a whole bunch of different people who have nothing in common, but they're just creating interesting shows and whatever, and people that love the genre too. So sometimes they
Mm-hmm.
give something that people find, look, Star Wars, Star Trek, there's certain things out there that people have a very close relationship with. And if you don't give it to someone who loves the genre, someone who's like, I am determined to change their trajectory, and it's like, that's not who you
Yeah.
want in charge of that baby, you know?
No, yeah, 100%. And that's, yeah, we don't need to get political or talk too much on it because it's probably its own pod about all that stuff.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So Disney did do something right in the last couple of years. Skeleton Crew is amazing. Watch that. That is a heist genre. Yeah. Before we get out of here, typically we do either a something I just watched or something I'm excited to watch. Do you have either of those? One or either of those?
Well, I mean, yes, I've been, because Thanksgiving week is coming up, and this is a time of year where there's lots of interesting films that are coming out, and I don't know what's going to be good, what isn't going to be good. So I'm interested in seeing the Running Man,
Yes.
and because when you go back to one of our previous podcasts, which was about to remake a movie or not, the original Running Man was is legendary, but it also had a lot of problems and flaws with it. Like you don't really want to see like Schwarzenegger running around in a leotard. It's just a little odd. It's just a little
Yeah.
odd, and it's a little too much information. And so,
Yeah.
um, there's also a few people wearing sort of outfits that are like not in his shape, and that is also very strange. It's like if you go to the community pool, you see things you wish you could unsee, and so there's a few elements of that in the movie. And that, I don't know that the pyrotechnics and all that kind of stuff were there at all yet. And so I don't know what year it was made, but it feels like a movie from like, it was after this, but it feels like a sci-fi film from the mid 70s that's just like schlocky and, can't, so I think that was one that deserved a remake. And I don't know. I've just seen the trailer so far, so I'm excited to give it a shot. I don't know if they go so over the top, but I know that
Yeah.
when I watched the newest Top Gun Maverick, he's not a villain in the movie, but he's like a sort of a competitor in the movie.
Glenn Powell.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
immediately see in that movie, you see the Miles character and Glenn, and they immediately have that on-screen charisma. Like, I don't know what they're going to do next. Are they going to make good choices?
Everything I've seen from Glenn Powell has been really good.
He has the it
There's
factor.
yeah, it's very much like I don't even know how to describe it, but I was going to compare him to somebody, but he's kind of his own dude. He's got a very interesting vibe, and I dig it. I think it'd be, and then you look at the cast of side characters in the new Running Man. You've got Coleman Domingo, who's been putting out some really exquisite stuff. You've also got William H. Macy, who's always a blast. I love William H. Macy, and yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and
I
I'm
think so, and
hoping.
I think if this hits, which I don't know, because the Twisters was came out, and it was I didn't care about it because I'm not a big fan of remakes, and it seemed basically kind of like a remake. But so I don't know how well that did, but I think if this one hits for Glenn, that could catapult him a bit. Now it could also be a little different because he doesn't strike me as like a big physical guy. I've never seen him personally, so I don't know if he's 5'6" or what he is, but like I don't know that he'll be the next action star, but he might get to that next level of like getting gigs that are,
Right.
he could be the lead in another I don't think they're going to make another Top Gun. Maybe they will, but he could be the lead dog in some more films rather than a secondary. You know.
For sure. For sure. For
What
sure.
about yourself?
I am you were talking about how you are not excited to watch this movie, but I am very excited to watch
Oh no. Oh
the
no.
sequel to Wicked. Yes. Yes, no. No, I am excited to watch the sequel to Wicked because I very much enjoy musicals, and I had never seen Wicked when it came out on Broadway. I never went to see it. I never saw a high school production of it. I never saw any, and the first time I ever watched it, everyone had hyped it up, and I was like, I'm gonna hate it. I went in like with the goal of hating it. I was like, all the people look weird. The actresses doing the thing look like malnourished, and someone needs to check on them and give them a hamburger. Like there was something going on with, I don't know if they're okay. I saw some videos today. I was like, they look like they're on drugs. So hopefully they're not. But anyways, I was like, I was hell bent on not liking it. I loved it. I thought it was so fun. It was a blast. The music was great. The production was great. Jeff Goldblum plays the wizard, which I love Jeff Goldblum. That is the coolest thing. He is the Wiz. Like that is the coolest thing. And so that was fun. And it's a brand new take on a classic story. And so, I mean, I say brand new. The musical's been out for probably 15 years, but it's a brand new take on that story. And I'm excited to see the conclusion because I don't know how it ends because I've never seen it. So I am excited for that. But that is where we differ and where I think the balance of the pod, because if we agreed on everything, there would be no need for discussion on things.
Well, we've
And
certainly
so
ended on a disagreement.
and that's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
absolutely.
But the goal is for us to see Running Man next week together. And the goal is also for us to do our first in-person pod, which is cool.
Maybe we'll do the
May or may
pod.
not.
Maybe we'll do the pod about the two different Running Mans.
There we go.
Maybe.
There we go.
We'll see.
That could, we'll see, but that is going to be a thing. And then soft launch, not necessarily a launch, but more so keep your eyes peeled. We are going to be starting to do these as live streams. Hopefully in the new year, we're going to do a couple test streams that might not be a full pod. They might just be us hanging out, just talking, but we're going to launch that in the new year. So this will be live streamed whenever we record these, and then the video will be edited and put up like it is usually with the audio feeds on the audio channels and the video on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. It'll be streaming on probably X, Twitch, maybe Facebook, but definitely YouTube as well.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be fun.
keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, enjoy your week, guys. We will see you next week. This has been another episode of the Great Movie Pod.
Peace out.